What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Real Estate Moguls. My name is Findlay-Shirras, and on today's show we have Katie Smithson, Director of WR Studios, the makers of Cloud Agent Suite, like Cloud CMA is probably your most popular product. So for those of you who don't know WR Studios and the products, why don't you give people a quick overview?
Sure,
what you do?
So WR Studios was founded in 2008, right in the middle of the real estate crisis. So great time to start a real estate software company. Our founders, Greg Robertson and Dan Woolley, have worked together for 25 years in real estate software. So they had this idea. They wanted to, get out and start. They'd actually had one company already, so they had sold that. Had been working together at another company, left there, and decided they wanted to start something new on their own. So really the first successful product from WR Studios was Cloud CMA. So that's our flagship product. It was launched in 2010. Currently, Cloud CMA is available in over 300 MLSs throughout the United States, and now we've actually gotten into some markets in Canada, which is really exciting. So
what's that process like of getting it in more markets? Is that hard?
It is hard, yeah, because essentially the way all of our products work, we have to have MLS data to power that. So what we have to do is actually go to the MLS, request. Currently, it's a RETS feed. I know there's. I'm sure most people are kind of hearing this shift to the web API, and that's something we're looking to going towards as well. But either way, it still requires the MLS giving us permission to use their data. A lot of times that's a hurdle to get over because MLSs can be very protective of their data, and rightfully so. What's
the pitch? Because they talk about that. They talk about you have to find a way to pitch to the MLS why you should receive the data.
Right.
Do you have any knowledge about and again, we have tech companies who probably want to get that data too.
Yeah.
What advice would you have for them on what to say to them I mean, obviously you can't lie and stuff like that, but there's definitely a way to sell it so that they feel comfortable and they quickly understand, okay, you're good for our agents.
Well, I mean, for us, all of our tools are agent tools. So our pitch is simply that, we're giving agents an alternative to the typical MLS system. Like with Cloud CMA, it's a reporting tool. So the same CMA that you have in a Matrix or Paragon or something like that. We're doing the same thing, just giving agents a different option of how they want to present that report. So our reports are very mobile friendly. We've got interactive reports. So really, I think the biggest thing is be clear on how you're using the data. Be clear that you are not going to resell that data or give that data away without permission. And it just kind of varies. Like, I think if you can clearly explain what your product is going to do, most of the time that kind of helps alleviate.
Is it just writing it? Is it really beneficial to meet the people in person?
It's kind of a variety. There's a lot of markets that we're never probably going to be able to get to that person in person. So a lot of times it's a phone call or email. Sometimes it will require board approval, so it's not just talking to the technical person at the MLS. It actually has to go to the board of directors for them to make a decision that yes, we will give our data to this third party. So,
okay, so now tell us a little more about the company and how it's structured. Because it's WR Studios, which sounds more like
a movie studio.
And a company that just creates things.
Yeah.
And so it implies that you are constantly creating. And so what's the future? What sort of some plans of things you guys want to create?
I mean, I think that's actually a really great description of what we do. I mean, we are creators. So that's really the kind of the idea behind the whole studio's naming. But yeah, we're constantly creating things, whether it's creating a better experience in our current apps that we're offering, or looking, what is the next trend that's coming down the pike, and how can we make that experience better for an agent. But yeah, like I said, our main customer is the real estate agent. We always want to make them look good and feel confident when they're doing their job. So that's really what our tools are all about.
Okay. Now, one of your new products that has just come out or coming out, this iBuyer Connect.
The iBuyer Connect, yeah. So it's actually, iBuyer Connect is a feature of Cloud CMA. So in a sense, at first it kind of did seem like it was a product, but it's actually really just a feature that's built into Cloud CMA. And so what we're doing is we're working with investors, and we have to vet those investors properly to figure out if they're going to be a good fit for this program. But essentially, it's a way to connect agents who have a seller that might be looking to get out quickly. So in Cloud CMA, we looked, and we keep metrics of usage and everything, and we saw that there are over 260,000 CMAs published monthly. So that's a lot of CMAs. Now, when a seller goes to an agent to get to ask about selling their home, obviously they made that step to talk to an agent. There's high intent there. So high intent, high volume. We thought this is a great opportunity to throw in another way for an agent to sell this house. So when the agent goes into Cloud CMA to make their CMA, if the subject property fits into the investor's buy box, and that can be a variety of things, whether it's a specific zip code or price range, whatever. If it fits in that investor's buy box, the agent has the option to request a cash offer. So if they click that request a cash offer, that information on the subject property goes to that investor. There are some qualifying questions, and ultimately the investor, if they decide they want to make an offer, will send an offer over to the agent. Now, why that's great for the agent is they can go to the seller now and go in with their CMA that they've put together and say, look, we can list your house. This is how much I think I could get for it if we put it on the market. Or if you need to get out quickly, or you just don't want to go through the hassle of the whole listing your home and waiting for it to sell, I've got a cash offer right here. So it's really allowing the agent to go into this listing presentation. They've got here's the ceiling of what I think I can get for your house, yeah. And here, if you want to get out right now, here's the floor. So
that's very cool.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think about this iBuyer concept as a whole? There's lots of companies and platforms coming out to help connect the buyer and the seller without the agent in the middle.
Right.
Now everyone seems to be building their own iBuyer platform. Yeah. It's almost like websites, yeah. Like before it was one platform to see all the real estate data, and now everyone can have real estate search on their own website. Like, what do you think is the future? Do you think it will end up, people will sell products and services to have iBuyers on their own personal websites, but there will ultimately be one platform where everyone does it all? Or do you think it will actually, unlike real estate search, which is primarily done on those big portals, right. Do you think this one actually might be different and the individuals will actually make the iBuying happen?
Yeah, I mean, iBuying is certainly not going anywhere. I mean, like you said, there's so many different options out there. Where, this week I've heard there are brokers who are starting their own programs. You've got companies out there like Knock and Open Door that are growing in popularity and getting into newer markets. So this whole iBuying concept, the on-demand real estate, I think it's going to be something that, yes, it's going to catch on. You're going to continue to see different options that come available, but I personally don't think a real estate agent is ever going away altogether. I don't know if you have personally been through the experience of buying or selling a home, but it's not an easy process. And yes, there's a convenience factor to saying, yep, I click a button, I want to sell my home and be done right now. But then there are some scenarios where maybe you're not in a rush and you want to get the most money for your house, so you are willing to take the time and work with a professional who can get the most money for you.
Are you guys helping get the investors for the agent? Is that part of what you guys are trying to create as well?
Yeah. So essentially, what we're trying to do is, or I guess what we are doing is, we're finding investors that that have a solid, a solid process, and allowing them to really use our technology to connect with agents. So it really takes out a lot of the guesswork. Like, we're going through the process of actually vetting these investors, making sure that they have a solid plan, and that it's going to be a good experience if the agent and the seller decide to ultimately go with that investor.
And the investors you must be going to them saying, like, what information do you need to know in order for you to make an effective offer?
Right, exactly. So that's been a little bit of a learning process that we've kind of gone through since we've released this this feature. And the great thing was we started it in Southern California. That was the first market where we really started testing this iBuyer Connect feature, and the investor we were working with there was really great and very helpful with the feedback of, okay, here are some qualifying questions that, if it fits in the buy box, okay, well, have you seen the property? Do you know if the seller would actually be interested in a cash offer? Just having that little bit of information up front helps them to make a better offer and make a better assessment on whether or not they want to pursue that.
Because one of the things that I have started to think about is what I like. When everyone talks about iBuyers, they talk about investors buying the house, and it just seems like no one's having any issues finding the investors. And so then it makes me think that investors may be a force pushing the iBuyer, because they're like, dude, I don't need a realtor. I just want to look at some data, look at some photos, and I'll be able to make a solid decision based on the data I can get, and I can give me VR goggles and all this, even better.
Right.
And it's now making it easier for people to invest in real estate, which society has always been saying, invest in real estate, invest in real estate. If you want to be wealthy, invest in real estate. It's a pillar. And so the iBuyer is not Silicon Valley trying to cut the agent out. The iBuyer is trying to service the investor. That's a growing community.
Yeah, and and I think, again, there's different models. Like what we're doing, we're actually connecting with investors. I guess kind of what you might traditionally think of as an investor. So somebody's like buying the property. But then you look at the model like Knock. They basically, it's like a trade-in kind of system. So you think about buying and selling a car. That's essentially what they're doing with houses, is they are buying your house from you. They're holding on to that and then helping you get into your new home without having to worry about actually selling that house first. So, and then there's Open Door, who essentially, like, they buy the house and then they handle all the selling process. So it's like they buy it and you're out, and then you can go do whatever you need to do. So, it's an interesting time. I think there's a lot of great ideas out there.
What are the thoughts for your business as a result of all these potential changes? The brokerage may dismantle, the MLSs may consolidate or dismantle. Right. The agent, I don't think that the agent will go away and then it will be reinvented a little bit, but people talk about the agent going away, and for us vendors who are providing products and services, like, we got to think about that and start creating things that move with the market. Right. So what are, again, some ideas you even have for the future about what WR Studios might do?
Yeah, again, we really believe in the agent, so ultimately that's who we're looking to serve, and we want to provide the tools and the products and services that are going to make them successful. So, I think one idea that we have in particular, I guess kind of like long-term goal that we would like to see with iBuyer Connect in a sense is that instead of having to go through this process of like, okay, we're sending over the information to the investor, there might be like a 12 to 24 hour time frame while the agent is waiting to hear back on the cash offer. What we'd like to see is that the technology gets to a point where, if you say, yes, I want to see if it qualifies for a cash offer, the offer pops up right there. And then you can actually print it out with your CMA and go to your listing appointment. So having that kind of immediacy in the response time. So
that's super cool.
Yeah, like I said, that's kind of, that's one goal that we want to shoot. A lot of things. Like I said, we're in so many different markets across the country, and every market is very unique. Seattle is not going to see the same kind of, or I guess you're not going to have the same influences on the price in Seattle as you would, say, in Kansas City. So there's lots of different factors of what could affect the price of the home, and I think that's what we want to kind of get in. And since we have that localized data, being able to show the agent, if you list the house for this long, this is at this price, this is what you can expect to actually get.
And what about because when a city decides to do things, it totally changes the price of homes.
Yeah.
Are you guys right now accessing the plans for city development, city plans for transportation lines, for schools, for hospital development? Is that something that is incorporated, or that you've thought about incorporating?
It's not something that we are currently incorporating, but we're always looking for new ideas, and I think, like you said, it's great to have that idea. Getting access to that data is usually the challenge.
So if you have that data, I want it.
We all want that data.
Katie wants it. Give it to us. How can people get in touch with you if they want to learn more or can access your products?
So me personally, if you want to talk to me, you can email me is always the best way, because I do travel a lot, and half the time my phone is like in airplane mode, and so it's just going to go right to my voicemail anyway, and most of the time that's full. So email me, it's katie@wrstudios.com. You can go to our website, either cloudagentsuite.com or wnrstudios.com, to see more about the company and the products, and get in touch with me.
A lot of my clients use these products, and 260,000 CMAs. How many CMAs do you think are done on a monthly basis, industry-wide? Like, what market share do you guys have for CMAs?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I mean, I would say we're very small. I mean, not very small, but like in the big scheme of things, just because we're not available in every MLS, and agents have their own, everybody has their, there's so many options.
There's like over millions of CMAs done every single month. Probably.
Yeah, and like some agents will use multiple tools to do different CMAs, because every product will do something a little bit differently. So,
Well, if you want to learn what they do, I know a lot of my clients use it, so check it out and reach out to her. And as always, we bring lots of great guests on the show, so if you want to get better at real estate, if you want to make money in real estate as a career or as an investor, subscribe to the YouTube channel and the podcast so you can get to know some more real estate moguls.